In 1920, the leader of an obscure German political party made what seemed at the time an insignificant decision. Adolf Hitler adopted a symbol for his National Democratic Socialist Party. It was a symbol which, over the next 2 decades, would become synonymous with hatred, fear, and a regime that slaughtered millions. The swastika.
The swastika means Nazism, it means evil, death, and genocide.
In Auschwitz, it was an emblem that I hated and I didn't even want to see it.
But the swastika has a long and complex history. For thousands of years, this has been a religious symbol with a sacred past, a sign of benevolence, luck, and good fortune. And for the nearly 1 billion Hindus around the world today, it lies at the heart of their religious practices and beliefs.
For me personally, the swastika means hope, it means purity, it means auspiciousness.
The swastika will be used by Hindus to evoke a sense of the sacred, to draw the attention of the divine to human undertakings.
But because of its recent past in the West, the Hindu swastika has sometimes provoked hostility.
I've got a tattoo of a swastika on my lip. And when I got it done, the tattoo artist was a little taken aback. He was like, Jew killer. And I said, no.
In the week when Hindus across Britain are celebrating the holy festival of Diwali, we tell the story of their sacred symbol. And we bring together members of the communities for whom it has the most potent meaning, to see if a new experience of the swastika could break down long-held prejudices.
It's very beautiful. I mean, it's obviously quite different being gold compared to red and black.
Can Hindus restore the reputation of a symbol they believe invokes the blessings of the divine? Sunday morning, Chalfont Cricket Club in leafy Buckinghamshire. A place associated with English teas and the gentle competitiveness of the weekend sportsman. Certainly not a place you'd expect to see a symbol most commonly associated with the fascist regimes of pre-war Germany. But today is an exception. The club is host to a Hindu wedding celebration, in which the swastika plays a vital role. As the guests congregate and the happy couple arrive, the Hindu priest has an important task.
And kumkuma, this is sindoor. Where is the kumkum?
Placing a swastika in front of the sacred area where the couple will sit during the ceremony. And the meaning of this swastika is a world away from that of Nazi Germany.
It's a diagram. The moment you look at the diagram, it should invoke the peace within you. So it has the swastika. Swasti means well-being. Swastika, asking the well-being of the gods.
A statue of the elephant-headed god Ganesh is placed at the centre of the swastika. Ganesh is the remover of all obstacles. And as the priest rotates him, it's believed any hindrances to the ceremony are removed. For Hindus, the swastika isn't only a sacred power for good, but an essential element of any rite of passage. Ramesh Putney is the father of the groom.
The word swastik actually comes from the Sanskrit word for a state of auspiciousness. Wherever any ceremony is performed, and Hindus have got 16 ceremonies during the lifetime, And each one of them will have one way or the other in which the swastika is represented. In the wedding, the swastika, it is the most important because the wedding ceremony marks a transition from one period of life to another. And therefore, all the auspiciousness is required.
Hold your hands and get up. Yes. This is the first exercise as wife and husband.
As unlikely as it might seem to those not brought up in the Hindu faith, for the Hindus here today, a wedding without a swastika would be unusual.
I now declare you wife and husband. May God bless you, look beautiful, live happily ever after.
For this young couple, the swastika ensures their marriage is blessed by the gods. It's a far cry from its associations in the West.
Most Western people, when they see it, they see a Nazi German symbol.
Shaunaka Rishi Das has been a Hindu priest for more than 30 years.
It is interesting that Hindus themselves, they're brought up with the swastika. It's perfectly normal for them. You see all the children at the wedding, they're just seeing it from birth. Then they go to school and learn that the Nazis used it in this way. But you have to understand that here's a tradition that's ancient, and the Germans borrow it from a different culture and misuse it over less than 2 decades. And all of a sudden it develops an internationally bad reputation.
Of all the symbols produced by ancient and modern man, this is the most contradictory. And its origins are shrouded in mystery. Images of the swastika have been found across the world. And the earliest examples date back thousands of years.
Well, the swastika is one of those strange symbols that you find in lots of different cultures. You see it in China and Japan, you see it in Mongolia, you see it in the ancient Mediterranean world, in Greece, even over in Native American cultures, and in the British Isles as well.
But despite the swastika's prolificness, its original meaning is an enigma.
Perhaps it's just a simple, elegant geometry. Maybe it was a solar symbol. It's so universal that we can't really find a first point of use. It just has a kind of an instinctive appeal across the world.
Some of the most ancient swastikas were found here in India. And over the centuries, it's been adopted across the subcontinent by many different religions. Hindus, Buddhists, and Jains all see it as a holy symbol. It's displayed just about everywhere to bring good fortune. And there's one time of year that it's especially prominent, at the Hindu festival of Diwali. It's a 5-day celebration to mark the Hindu New Year. Also known as the Festival of Lights, it marks the triumph of good over evil. And in India, the streets are a riot of noise and colour. The festival honours deities such as the goddess of wealth, Lakshmi. And so the swastika is painted on the account books for the new financial year to ensure prosperity. But it's not just in the East that the swastika features in Diwali festivities. This is Neasden Temple in northwest London. It's the spiritual home to thousands of Hindus. And every Diwali, the ladies of the temple spend hours making an incredible display, known as a rangoli, like this one, in which the swastika plays a central role.
Rangoli patterns are literal forms of art, and they're created by hand generally by women who use rice or coloured rice.
Avni Chagh has been celebrating Diwali here for most of her life.
Diwali represents the festival of light. If you go back to physics lessons, you'd always be taught how the spectrum of colours originate from white light. And I think that's completely honoured within these beautiful geometric patterns, within these beautiful designs that are created during Diwali. And most commonly you will see the Hindu swastika, and for some it may mean prosperity, for some it may mean good luck. For me personally, the swastika means hope.
For Hindus who've grown up with the swastika, finding out that this emblem of light has been used for the darkest of purposes can be horrifying.
I was pretty much born with the symbol surrounding me, and at special occasions, festivals, this symbol would be prevalent. And then when I finally started studying about the Second World War in history lessons at school, I freaked out. I saw the symbol and I was just completely gobsmacked. Seeing it in this textbook associated with the Holocaust, with genocide, with racial intolerance was quite a shock. And I wondered how it could have been sort of mutated from something so positive to something so negative.
So how did this sacred symbol come to symbolize one of the most evil regimes in history? The swastika's metamorphosis began with an archaeological dig in the 19th century. In 1874, excavations started at a site believed to be the ancient city of Troy in Turkey. They were led by a German businessman named Heinrich Schliemann.
Schliemann was an adventurer, and his real mission was to find the real Troy, the Troy of the Homeric epics. Now, as he dug, he found spheres, strange spheres with an equator around them, bearing the image of what we would call the swastika, and plenty of fragments of pottery bearing swastikas.
What Schliemann had uncovered was to have deadly consequences. His work would inadvertently lay the foundations for a new mythology of the swastika to be constructed. One which would transform it from a sacred symbol of benevolence into the Nazi emblem of the Aryan master race.
Now, Schliemann did not know what these symbols were, but there were scholars who were willing to interpret these objects and these symbols for him. One of these men was a man called Émile Burnouf.
Burnouf was a scholar of ancient Indian literature, and it was to a Hindu epic called the Rig Veda that he turned to try and make sense of Schliemann's find.
In the Rig Vedas, there are a people called the Aryas mentioned, and in the lexicon of the Rig Vedas, the word swastika is mentioned, and scholars like Burnouf put the swastika together with the Aryas and said, this was the ancient symbol of these people, the Aryas, and these people were invaders, warriors who came from the north, who displaced the existing people of India, and these were the same people who we find represented in the pottery fragments of Troy.
Two entirely unconnected mythologies were becoming one. The people of ancient Troy were being fused with the Aryans of the Hindu Rig Vedas, and the swastika was the symbol that Burnouf claimed united them.
So, really, the swastika fragment became, for pseudo-scholars like Burnouf, the perfect excuse to build a new mythology and invent a single pan-European colonial warrior race using the swastika as their emblem.
For Hitler, a symbol with such a mythology, albeit invented, was the perfect emblem for his ambitions for Germany.
The Nazis were involved in this huge project of trying to create a new history for themselves. They weren't really happy with their association with Christian history because they saw that as having Hebrew Jewish roots. And it was that notion of a history that was being kind of imagined out of these different symbols and sources that Hitler wanted to use to give the Nazi movement its own foundation.
Within decades, the swastika had been ripped from its ancient religious roots and become shorthand for the Nazis and their chilling agenda. It was perhaps the most successful example of cultural theft in history.
When you look at the swastika, you don't think this is the symbol of Hinduism. No, the swastika means Nazism, it means evil, death, and genocide.
With its new connotations across Europe so entrenched, it seems unlikely that the Hindu symbol can ever rid itself of the shadow of Nazism. Especially when, for those who suffered directly in the Holocaust, it unlocks terrifying memories.
I was taken into my first camp at 11 and a half. It was just a horrendous place.
Arek Hirsch lost 81 members of his family under the Nazis.
Assessment were there. They were beating people and hanging people, and just few of us survived. But you see the swastika everywhere. And I abhorred it, actually. I hated to look at it even, because I suffered very much under it.
And even for young Jews today, it's a symbol they still struggle with.
I do shudder when I see it. It's something that is very infamous in the Jewish community, and is something that I think it would be very difficult to change.
The Nazi theft of the Hindu's sacred symbol changed the perception of the swastika in the West forever. And yet, at the time in India, it was something most Hindus were unaware of.
The vast majority of Hindus, especially in rural areas, mostly illiterate, obviously did not know for a very long time how it had been used by the Nazis. But for the educated classes, I think there was a sense of being appalled.
And amongst Hindus today, feelings against the Nazis' theft of the swastika run high.
Germany thought they can hijack this sacred symbol from the Vedic culture and use it, to enforce their white supremacy and all that. And people are very angry and upset that, a sacred symbol so dear to them in their religion is hijacked by somebody like this.
After the war, the feeling against the swastika was so strong that in Germany and Poland it was banned. And since then, it's become shorthand not for divine blessings, but for race hatred. It's a misappropriation that's had a real impact on Hindus today.
The difficult thing is that the swastika that Hitler uses and the swastika that Indian culture uses really do look a lot the same. Often the Indian swastika will have dots between the forearms, but there aren't any definite differences that you can always use to separate them out. And that can make it hard for people to distinguish which symbol they're looking at.
And it's this confusion, in a society with little understanding of Hinduism that's led to the Hindu symbol inadvertently finding itself under attack. In 2007, German MEPs proposed a ban of the public use of swastikas right across the European Union. It was a proposition that upset many Hindus.
The British Hindus woke up to this and they carried out a campaign to bring awareness to the members of the Parliament, of British Parliament, to make them understand that how sacred this swastika is to the Hindu faith.
The British Hindu response was that this was a Eurocentric proposal. It wasn't taking into account the bigger picture. Millions of people use this symbol on a daily basis.
What had started out as an anxiety about Nazism had turned into a fight for religious freedom.
If Europe wants to be seen as a truly liberal society, then it has to really be liberal in the bigger picture. It has to let go of its history, maybe, to look at how this symbol has been used in the world in such a positive way for thousands of years compared to the European historical aberration that we have that needs to be recognized but also needs to be balanced with the bigger picture.
The reaction stopped the ban in its tracks, and British Hindus were free to display their sacred symbol once more. But even though it's not illegal in Britain to show the swastika, Hindus who do display it sometimes face misunderstandings and even insults.
One of the things about Hindus is we don't always explain ourselves very well. And children, if they take into school something which displays the swastika, if their friends and even the teachers don't know the meaning, they sometimes get chastised or even worse, bullied for being associated with Nazism.
So you've learned. Bharti Taylor spends much of her time teaching children about Hinduism.
So it's a holy symbol for us, whether you draw it the other way or this way.
For her, the key to Hindus being able to show the sign without fear is knowledge.
I think that we should have more education so that everybody understands that symbol is meant to be for the good, not an evil symbol.
But can Western European perceptions really be changed? Well, where better to start than with the community for whom the swastika holds the greatest fears, the Jews. Today, Josh Dubell, a member of a London synagogue, has been invited to the local Hindu temple in Neasden. The Hindus want to show him the beautiful rangoli they've created and to talk to him about their connection with the swastika in the hope that he might begin to see it in a different light.
If I saw a swastika on the wall in my local area, I would report it straight away as an anti-Semitic attack. It's something that is synonymous with hate crimes.
So I can understand that when Josh comes, he'll come with some idea of the swastika. So it'll be interesting to see how he feels when he does see it, when it's portrayed within the temple.
I don't know that much about it as a Hindu symbol, so I really hope to learn about what it means to the Hindu faith.
Avni is going to show him around.
Hello.
Hello. Hi Josh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to Neasden Temple.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah?
And the first swastika Josh encounters appears before he even gets inside.
The main symbol that I'd like to point out to you is on the doors, and that's the swastika.
Ah, yes.
And I guess what it represents or means here is it's a sign of welcome, and it's welcoming and wishing them good luck as they enter the temple to pray.
It's really interesting. I mean, me and my people, seeing that symbol in the past has not really provided me with that luck.
Especially as many times as you can see it. Yeah. Sorry. How do you feel about it?
It's just a little taken aback a little bit by the seeing it like this. It's obviously quite different being gold compared to red and black.
Yeah.
But it's really, really beautiful.
Have you gone in?
Yeah, sure.
The swastikas on the doors had a real impact on Josh, and what lies inside is even more striking.
How do you feel now seeing this?
This is more in red now.
Oh, right. So this is called a rangoli, and I guess it's an expression of worship. And you find it as well at times of like really big religious occasions or ceremonies. The swastika represents prosperity and good luck and wealth. How do you feel like in terms of the shape, or is it something that's different?
Obviously, to me, it's the most anti-Jewish symbol that I've ever seen in terms of the death of a lot of my people in my religion. And I mean, it seems a little bit less harsh.
Okay, yeah, because of the cowl?
Yeah, I think so.
See, when I was growing up, I always had this positive view of the swastika. So I never understood how it could mean something, that it may mean to you.
As Josh's visit draws to an end, he's got a lot to think about.
I was taken aback on the doors and taken aback a little bit, but now you talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the dialogue is really, really important. We talk a lot about what separates us, but hopefully we can use this symbol to come together and talk about the things that we have in common.
Avni and Josh's experiences of the swastika are worlds apart, but their meeting has started to break down long-held prejudice.
It's still very, very strange and a little alien to me, but it's actually changed some of my opinions about the swastika. Maybe it can be used for good.
I think Josh's visit is like the first step in the Jewish community coming to understand that the swastika means so many different things. He understood that it doesn't necessarily have to mean one thing universally. It can mean different things to different people.
I don't know whether the Jewish community will feel the same way as I do, but you know what, hopefully we can really start to educate ourselves that this symbol can be used for something positive.
Perhaps this ancient Hindu symbol, which for so long has held such different meanings for these two religious communities, might actually bring them closer together. And as Hindus across Britain prepare to celebrate Diwali, the festival that marks the banishment of darkness and the coming of light, maybe it's a first step towards the swastika being reclaimed for good.
I think over time the swastika will be redeemed in Europe. Just because something in one context looks bad doesn't mean we slam it. We have to look at the bigger picture always. So the change will come. It'll just take time.
Wouldn't it be nice if one day there are people who saw the swastika being used in public and said, oh, I know that symbol. That's an Indian symbol, and Hindus use it to signify auspiciousness and blessing. And when they later come to see the Nazi use of the symbol, they think, gosh, that's horrific, that's really inappropriate. If we can get to that point, then finally Hitler will really have been defeated.
Om Swastina Indro Ruddhashtabah Swastina Pusha Ishtavedaha Swastina Starkyo Aristanemihi Swastino Bruhaspati Dadatu Om Swastina Indro Ruddhashtabah Swastina Pusha Ishtavedaha